Hi guys, it's Rebecca. So today I'm just going to be filming a little recent reads video. I haven't done a wrap up in I don't know how long, and honestly I haven't read a lot of books recently over the last couple of months. I haven't really read at all in my third year of my degree. I mean, read for fun. And what I did read, I kind of had to do rereads of and just write essays on them. So a lot of the times I didn't have time to read quite a lot. I actually didn't have that much reading for this year, as in like primary texts. I did have a good bit of Dickens reading, but a lot of it's secondary work and a lot of criticism that I'll read, but it'll just be like bits and pieces and journal articles, and that's what I was doing constantly really, apart from writing essays and then obviously doing the primary reading. So that meant this year a lot of reading did get done, but I've been reading a lot over the last couple of days, and I thought rather than it being everything like really messy and everything, I can maybe get back into doing monthly wrap-ups, because now I'm actually going to have time to read. So I just thought I would do a little catch-up and just show you guys what I've read over the last couple of months. I know it's not a lot, but in fact it's very little, but I just thought it'll be nice to clear it up and just show what I've been reading. So I'm not going to say when I finish these or anything like that. I'm just going to say what I thought about them and what I rated them. So let's get started. So the first book I'm going to talk about is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas. I gave this book 3 stars, maybe 3.5 stars, but it's rated as 3 stars on Goodreads. I thought it was okay. I much prefer Throne of Glass. I liked it enough to go on to A Court of Mist and Fury, which I don't have the book yet, but I am going to read it at some point, and I definitely want to like carry on quickly so I don't forget what happened. I did enjoy it. The second half didn't pick up as much as people said it would, and I actually find this book really disappointing, so I'm really sad about that, but I also don't care because I'll still continue on. I didn't like the main character, what was she called, Feyre? I don't like Feyre. I think she's so annoying, and it was actually horrible. She's horrible to her family. Like, she just thinks that she's the best thing since sliced bread for like taking care of her crippled father, which is what she calls him all the time, and like, oh my god, his legs won't work, and like he always like has to he like won't move or anything. He's so fat and lazy because of him and his crippled legs, and there he just sits there and he doesn't move and everything like that. And I'm just like, what a horrible person. Like, I'm sorry, but she's a horrible person. Like, if your dad's legs were like beat up by like random people or whatever, I can't even remember who it was, like some people that he got into like bad company with, they like beat his legs with a stick until he could barely walk, and she's like saying that he's so fat and lazy because he won't move and hunt with her, even though she's like, I'm so amazing because I'm the one who actually brings food into this house, like you'd all starve without me, so like you have to rely on me. So she's like such a narcissist. And yeah, it's getting really hot. It's like literally 26 degrees, and this doesn't help, and then I'm getting really angry. But yeah, this book annoyed me. Also, I don't like Tamlin biting, you know? I don't know why I did that, but I don't like him biting her neck. It was weird, and I didn't like it, and it was forceful, and I just thought it was disgusting. It wasn't cute or sexy or anything, it was horrible. And that was really quickly actually brushed over, just because he was like, turns into this horrible fairy man who like wants to like mate with somebody else and just forces himself upon people. But she doesn't have to have that in her life. Just because it's not your fault that you turn into a horrible, weird, rapey villain for like once a year or whatever for no reason. Well, there is reasons, but they're not good enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't care. I'm not going to stick with you just because you do that. Just to have you being like rapey around me. Like, I don't think so. So I'm actually thinking, like, is that like worth a content warning? Because I thought it was actually that bad. I thought it was very odd. It was just okay. It reminded me of City of Bones, and that's not a compliment. So the next book that I read recently was Othello by William Shakespeare. This is my first time ever reading Othello, and I really actually enjoyed my experience of it. I got halfway through it like a couple of months before I'd started to reread it, if that makes sense. So it was like before Christmas I'd started to read it, and I was like, I don't like this, I really don't like this. And it was because I was watching this performance, this recorded performance from the Globe, and the way Othello and every single other character, actually to be honest, was talking was like, they were just shouting every single line, and I think I know that Shakespeare shouldn't be performed that way, and it was just very odd coming from the Globe. But to be fair, I usually prefer the National Theatre performances than I do the Globe, so that really like put me off Othello. And then whenever I had got that out of my mind and I read the text how I believe it should be read, at least how I read it, I much preferred it. And then I ended up writing my dissertation partially on Othello. So I rated this one 3 stars, but I'm actually going to change that right now. I'm going to change that to a 4-star rating because yeah, it doesn't deserve 3 stars, it deserves 4. This is one that definitely grew on me. It's fun, even though it's a tragedy, and it's entertaining. Not my favourite Shakespeare, but I really did enjoy it. So talking about Shakespeare, I did reread King Lear and I reread Macbeth, both of which I gave 5 stars upon rereading. They're 2 of my absolutely favourite Shakespeare plays. I love them so much. It's ridiculous. And Macbeth I used to hate, but it really grew on me. I've specialised in Shakespeare in my degree. Basically, in any time I've had to choose a special subject, it would always be Shakespeare, and then I did my dissertation on it. I don't know how much of a good idea that's going to be because I haven't got my grade back yet, but these are the 2 plays that I did write about in my dissertation. Let's see if all of the special subjects have actually come into use, but I love those plays. I think they're absolutely amazing, and I think Macbeth would be quite a good one to start with, as well as Othello actually, if you haven't read Shakespeare before. But I would definitely avoid King Lear until you've read a few more. Maybe try like As You Like It, Macbeth, everything like that. I'm going to make a whole video on this, but yeah, if you want to try Shakespeare, I would definitely recommend Macbeth and Othello. They're really good ones, but I did enjoy King Lear, rereading it, 5 stars. So another book that I've read, this is a different edition that I have of it. I've actually got a Penguin edition of it that I actually read it from, but that's Hard Times by Charles Dickens. This wasn't my favourite Charles Dickens in the world. I actually gave it 3 stars. I think it's probably closer to like a 3.25, 3.5. I've rated it 3 stars on Goodreads and I feel like it's not enjoyable enough for 4 stars. It's weird because it is an enjoyable book, but it's not what I would be looking for whenever I reach for Dickens. It's got some really cool themes in here though. It's all about kind of tension between fantasy and fact and how those 2 can really collide at times, and it's often not clear whether we should prioritise facts and education and this rigid learning versus the use of the imagination, and how actually that comes into be really important as well, and how that can actually teach you a lot. So that's really what the book's about. I would recommend reading it. It's a really short Dickens, so if you want to start with Dickens here, it's probably a good one to start with, but just know that there are better Dickens out there. It's not hard to read, which is good as well, which is a really good beginning Dickens, and obviously as I said, it's short, but there is better Dickens out there like Great Expectations and David Copperfield and Bleak House. So yeah. So the next book is a poetry collection which I listened to on Audible, and that is I Would Leave Me If I Could by Halsey. This was amazing. I rated it 5 stars. I was blown away with how good it was. So many of the poems are just fantastic. Obviously some are better than others. I should have probably went through it and found what my favourite poem was, but then that would mean rereading because obviously it was Audible and I couldn't really make notes. But oh my god, I really want the physical edition now so that I can go through it and make notes and just enjoy it visually. Yeah, I absolutely loved that book and I really want to listen to it again. Halsey was a fantastic narrator. Obviously she knows best and how to read her poems, so I think that was such an interesting experience. It's basically all about Halsey's struggle with bipolar disorder. I just thought it was so good, and also about like relationship issues, drug use, alcohol use, everything like that. So I guess they are content warnings, but also it's not done in a way where it's like too impactful, if that makes sense, because there are some things that would get to me, but I didn't find it depressing or it didn't like give me anxiety. Like it just made me interested and in awe of her ability to write. I actually think that she's a better poet than she is a writer, a songwriter, because I feel like a lot of the times I feel like Halsey's songs feel like she's trying to fit poetry into music, and I feel like whenever that's stripped away and you just have her voice reading the poetry as it is, it was like so much more impactful to me. I do like Halsey a lot. I really like her Manic album. I really like it a lot actually. So I'm not saying that I don't like Halsey, but I just think that her writing style suits poetry, I think, more than songwriting, and then that really comes through in this collection. So yeah, 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. Another 2 books that I read recently was The Raven Boys and The Dream Thieves by Maggie Stiefvater. I love these books. I thought that they were so much fun and it was so refreshing to get back into like that old kind of YA that's still actually really unique and interesting, because I feel like a lot of YA just won't do it for me right now. So it was nice to go back to like old favourites, if you know what I mean, like other people's old favourites, because this is a series that I never got to whenever I was younger. Whenever I was first getting into YA, I just never picked them up. I got this for Christmas years ago and I never actually did end up reading it, but I finally got to it. I always get this guilt whenever I get things as presents and I don't actually get around to them, and obviously, as I've said, book buying and book reading are separate hobbies, so I shouldn't feel guilty for wanting books as presents, but it does make me feel guilty whenever I actually don't read those like soon after I receive them. I rated these both 4 stars. I finished this like 2 days ago. I love these and I'm definitely going to read on. I give it 4 stars because there's just something missing and I can't really tell what that is. I think sometimes I'll be feeling like I'm a bit bored or I'll zone out, so I don't know if that's my fault, but oh my god, it is roasting in here. But yeah, they are such good books. I think I preferred the first one, but I still did end up giving both 4 stars, especially the second half of The Dream Thieves. I really enjoyed it, and you can see like the characters kind of coming more to life, but these characters do feel really alive to me, and I think that that's why actually I really enjoy them, because recently I've just been reading a lot of bland characters who are very forgetful, and I think that that actually was partially what got me out of reading, because I was just like, I'm so bored of all of this. So thank you to Mikey Stiefvater for actually entertaining me, because this was so good. I really have enjoyed these and I can't wait to go on to the next one. I do have it already, so I'm really excited for that. So the next book that I read is The Haunted House by Charles Dickens, and some other authors have some stories in here, like Elizabeth Gaskell and Wilkie Collins. So Dickens had this little magazine where he published his own work and other people's work, and it was called All the Year Round, and this specific like little collection of stories was published in 1862. This collection is like, okay, some stories are better than others. I think Elizabeth Gaskell's story was by far my favourite. It's a little collection of ghost stories. Basically, all these different authors tell the stories of like the backgrounds of all of the different ghosts that are within this haunted house. I'm pretty sure it's like ghosts who had lived in that house and therefore are now haunting it, and basically what happened to them and what their little stories were behind this. So it was a really cool concept, and I'm glad I read it because it's super short, and yeah, I do enjoy Dickens, but I think Elizabeth Gaskell did outshine everybody else. So I'm definitely way more interested to read North and South. I've been dying to read that, but it makes me want to read it even more, which I didn't even know was possible. The last book that I want to talk about is Empire of Storms by Sarah J Maas. I love this. I gave this 5 stars. This is definitely worth 5 stars. I love these books so much, and the way this made me feel at the end is just 5 stars in itself. Wow. I love these characters. I love these books with all of my heart. You know, whenever you just feel like, I could just like hug this book all day, and I felt like it put me into such a reading slump. I was like, I don't want to read anything else. I'm not happy with anything else. This is all I care about. So yeah, fun times. If you haven't read the series, you should go and read this series. So that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I know there wasn't that many books, but also it means that videos, I guess, a bit faster. So thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this, then please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.